The Nioh games were already known for offering tons of weapon choices, plus a variety of stances to change up the pace of combat. Thanks to a new ninja form, Nioh 3 outright doubles the number of weapon choices. That makes 14 total weapons you can wield, which can be a tough choice to make. This video will break down how each one functions, plus name a few core stats and skills to really showcase what it can do. Before we get into the weapons themselves, let's quickly break down what each of the 7 character stats do. These will be a big deciding factor in finding your weapon of choice. First is Constitution, the stat that most greatly affects your life. If you want to take more hits before you go down, you'll want a weapon that scales with this. Heart increases your stamina, aka ki, and the speed with which it regenerates. It's great for aggressive playstyles that keep you in the enemy's face. Stamina increases your life and maximum equipment load, allowing you to wear heavier armor without penalties. The heavier you are, the less effective your dodge. Strength increases your melee damage to both enemy health and ki. It's a big stat for the heavier, slower weapons, like the axe, odachi, and split staff. Skill increases your martial arts and ninjutsu power, making it very valuable if you intend to make ninja tools a big part of your playstyle. Intellect increases the duration of item effects and your ki recovery speed. It's also needed to unlock the special effects of most of the game's accessories. Finally, magic affects your onmyo magic. That's tied to your soul core summons and the special effects of those soul cores when they're equipped. Now that you've got an idea of what all of the stats mean, let's dive into each weapon type. Swords, aka katana or tachi, are more or less the game's default samurai weapon. They are intentionally balanced for both speed and strength, and they scale with your heart, strength, and intellect stats. Swords aren't meant for mid or long-range combat, but their default charged heavy attack, called True and Through, is perfect for stabbing at an approaching enemy. Swords are also not the best for crowd control or AoE attacks, but by unlocking Sword Ki, you can give yourself a new move that covers that stuff. By holding heavy attack in high stance, you'll unleash a burst of energy that buffets anyone standing too close. The samurai's dual swords aren't just 2 regular swords in each hand. These are lighter, slightly shorter blades that can attack faster and keep you more on the move. If you favor swords but need a little more mobility, they're a great choice. Heart, strength, and skill are the scaling stats here. Dual swords also give you access to Water Sword, which is a great flurry attack you can use to overwhelm a single target or keep a few close enemies at bay. It even has a second, stronger tier you can unlock after that. You should also look into Deflecting Cut, which gives you a quick counterattack option after a successful deflect. In fact, Deflect is going to come up again on this list, so consider that a mandatory samurai upgrade in general. If you're looking to keep the enemy at a medium distance, then spears are a good weapon of choice. They even let you switch places with an enemy via body swap, which can get you out of a bind if you're surrounded. As a default, you can hold heavy attack for Twisting Spear, a nice wind-up move that pokes any enemy foolish enough to run straight at you. Unlock Triple Threat, and you'll have a fantastic lunging option that even restores ki with well-timed button presses. And if you're fighting in low stance, Spearfall is a solid sweeping combo for knocking away anyone who actually gets close. Spears are graceful weapons, so they scale with Constitution, Heart, and Skill. If you want the least graceful samurai weapon, it's the axe, but this category also includes hammers, cudgels, and hoes. These all scale with Constitution, Stamina, and Strength, and they're generally the hardest hitting weapons a samurai can use. The trade-off being, of course, that they swing much slower. If you use Mad Spinner, that sluggishness might not matter though. This default charged heavy attack sends you spinning around in a circle, which, yes, leaves you vulnerable to attacks, but also knocks away anything you run into as you throw your weight around. That can be traded out for Rumbling Earth, a hefty overhead slam that devastates enemy health and ki. If you tend to go for a tank build, this is one of your best options. Tanks might also consider Odachi, which you can think of as Nioh 3's great swords. They're slower than a standard sword, but with way more reach, enough to even take out aerial enemies from time to time. Stamina, strength, and magic are the scaling stats here. Odachi can be used to beat up single targets or knock them off balance via tail strike. On top of that, their bolting bore skill is an upgraded version of Deflect that immediately throws an enemy to the ground. You can charge into battle, or stand back and unsheath your sword with Imperative Strike as the target closes in. If you like regular swords but need more damage output, give Odachi a try. If I had to describe Switchglaives in one word, it would be versatile. By switching stances, you can actually change the form of the weapon: a high stance scythe, a mid stance glaive, or a low stance guillotine. Each of those forms have their own reach, with scythes having slightly more and guillotines meant for fighting in close quarters. You can also use all three of these in conjunction with skills like the Path of Three, which sends you flailing around in a large area, rapidly switching between all three forms. Switchglaives are some of the flashiest weapons out there, if that's what you're looking for. They scale with skill, intellect, and magic. The last samurai weapon type is the cestus, which leans on heart, stamina, and strength. This is the shortest range weapon you can use, because it's a pair of armored gloves. If you want the feeling of hand-to-hand combat or the fantasy of fighting like One Punch Man, it doesn't get better than this. Cestuses work great for beating up single enemies, allowing you to spam attacks and overwhelm them with blows. You can also sit back and charge up a special move called Limitless. This is a single, super powerful punch that eats your entire ki bar, using it to clobber the enemy with one of the game's most powerful single attacks. The Cestus's Stomp skill powers up your next martial art, so if you use that before prepping a Limitless punch, you'll really make Saitama proud. And now for the ninjas, who get their own swords, often called uchigatana. Ninjas are generally more nimble in combat, but you can still think of this as the baseline weapon type with a solid balance of attack and speed. Ninja swords scale with strength, skill, and intellect, nearly the same as their samurai counterparts. That said, ninja swords generally give you more options for getting out of trouble. Kick Slash lets you follow up a regular attack with a strong roundhouse kick, and Shadow Cyclone actually pierces through the enemy, taking you behind them. If you want your samurai and ninja forms to feel more similar, using a sword for both would be a good call. When it comes to repositioning yourself in combat, the dual ninja swords have one of the best moves in the entire game. Drifting Counter lets you brace for an attack, then unleash a counter that sends you slicing through an enemy to end up behind them. These dual blades can also use the same water sword ability as the samurai's dual swords, and you already know how handy that can be. The trade-off here is also the same. If you want to use a sword in ninja form, but you're looking for a little more speed in place of attack power, then dual swords are the way to go. They scale with heart, intellect, and magic. For aerial attacks and juggles, the Kusarigama is the best bet in all of Nioh 3. This chain sickle has default launchers like Leaping Strike, and you can follow up with another skill like Pollard to unleash a flurry of attacks in the air. Of course, the crowning achievement of the Kusarigama is Serpent Strike, aka Scorpion's Get Over Here attack. Use it to yank a small enemy closer, or to pull yourself toward a larger one like a grappling hook. Kusarigama users are always on the move, and their weapon of choice scales with constitution, skill, and magic. Now, if you want to go the defensive route with your ninja form, then the Tonfa is a great choice. These short sticks use constitution, strength, and skill as their main stats. They can even modify your mist ability with Demon Dance, trading some movement for more invincibility frames. Tonfa are also one of the few ninja weapons with an equivalent to the samurai's Deflect. The Impenetrable skill will knock an enemy off balance when they swing at you. If you're going on the offensive, Tonfa also offer plenty of striking skills that give you new combos or charged attacks. But by and large, this weapon is for the more defensive-minded ninja. For a more powerful close-up weapon with a ranged option, check out the ninja's hatchets. These two hand axes can be used to chop up enemies in close quarters, but you can also let them fly with some special techniques. Hatchets have a variety of skills that let you charge up and throw your weapons for a solid medium distance, sending both in succession or piercing through an enemy to hit others behind them. You can even plant one in the ground after a standard attack to trip up your foes and drain their ki. Think of the hatchets like souped up kunai, thrown weapons that scale with stamina, skill, and intellect. Switchglaives aren't the only transforming weapons in Nioh 3. Ninjas get to use split staves. If you hold down either attack button, your pole will release a chain that reaches further and does additional damage. Strength, intellect, and magic are the scaling stats for this one. Thanks to their reach, split staves give you good options for wherever your foes are standing during the fight, but their Twin Phoenix AoE skill is great for smacking anyone standing right around you. If you're looking to take a chunk out of someone's ki, then the default Shin Crusher is another great skill to utilize. When it comes to shredding ki, the Talons reign supreme. If you're looking to tear through Nioh 3 like Wolverine, then this is the weapon for you. These claws can be devastating at short range, and they get better with increased heart, stamina, and intellect. By holding down heavy attack, the default Chaotic Cleave skill lets you go berserk for the whole length of your ki bar, cutting up an enemy's health bar or ki if they happen to be blocking. Furthermore, you can kick away from an enemy after attacking to give yourself some space if needed. Talons are one of the most mobile options for the already quite nimble ninja, so take that into consideration. And that is the complete rundown of all 14 weapon types in Nioh 3. The good news is that you'll be picking up tons of loot throughout the entire game, so you'll always have a chance to try out something new if you're getting tired of your current loadout. If you're looking for more general combat tips or skill recommendations, we've got those too. Just keep it locked at IGN.